Good morning, students. Now we discussed about first law of motion. First law we all know that derived by Newton's, but it is first observed by a scientist named Galileo. He observes the motion of an object in an inclined plane, and according to Galileo, an object moved with a constant speed when no force act on it. This means if an object is moving on a frictionless path, means where there is no friction opposing force, then the object would be moving forever. But actually practically it's not happen. So Galileo argued and performed an experiment to explain their views. He put two inclined planes in front of each other like that and take a marble at the height of one inclined plane and leave it. So the marble comes down with a very high speed and against inclined in the climb up in the second inclined plane to the maximum height, or observe it is observed that it covers same distance as it is covered in the first inclined plane and achieve the same height when the inclined angles are same on both the side. Secondly, they decrease the inclined plane like here, means we are decreasing the angles slowly. We observe that the marbles comes with high speed and it reaches to the maximum height, but at second time we see that it covers large distance as compared to before when the angles are same. Slowly when we decreases the angle and perform the activity again, do the same, we observe that as we decreasing the angles, the marble covers large distance, and when we slowly decreases the inclined plane to 0 and release the marble from here, we observe that marble will move at very high speed, and according to Galileo said that the ball or the marble will move forever. But actually it is not happened, as so many other forces comes in contact, like a frictional force come on the surface which opposes the motion of the marble, due to which the marble slowly comes down and stop. So further, Newton studied Galileo's idea on force and motion and presented three fundamental laws that governs the motion of the object. Three laws are known as Newton's law of motion. So here we discuss the first law of motion. First law of motion states that a body at rest tends to remains at rest, and a body in uniform motion tends to remain in the state of uniform until or unless an external unbalanced force is applied on it. As we observe that when we if a ball is lying on a table, it will remain as it is for few minutes, for hour, or for a day, until you apply any force on it. Or a ball is moving, will be constantly moving, it will be moving until we apply force on it. So a body is in rest tends to remain in rest, or a body is in uniform motion tends to remain in the uniform motion. It is also known as law of inertia, or we can say it first law of motion.
Inertia can be classified into three categories: inertia of rest, inertia of direction, inertia of motion. Certain experiences that we have while traveling in a bus can be explained on the basis of the law of inertia. When a passenger is standing in a stationary bus that suddenly moves, the movement pushes the passenger backward. Why does this happen? This is due to the inertia of rest experienced by the passenger in the upper part of his body. The body is at rest when the bus is at rest. When the bus starts, all of a sudden, the lower part of the body is in contact with the vehicle that started moving, whereas the upper part of the body continues to be at rest because of the inertia of rest. Inertia of rest is the tendency of a body to resist any change in its state of rest. What happens when a fast-moving bus negotiates a right-hand curve on the road? The passengers will tilt to the left. Inertia of direction is the tendency of a body to oppose any change in the direction of its motion. With the application of sharp brakes, the bus stops all of a sudden and the passengers tend to fall forward. This is due to inertia of motion experienced by the upper part of the body. When the bus is moving, the whole body of the passenger is in a state of motion. A sudden halt caused by the lower part of the passenger's body that is in contact with the bus comes to rest. However, the upper portion of the body remains in the state of motion due to the inertia of motion, causing the passenger to fall forward when the bus stops suddenly. Inertia of motion is a tendency of a body to resist a change in its state of uniform motion. Thus, Newton's first law is also called the law of inertia.